Oh, did you want to do one of these? You want one of them? Anybody want Finance Professionals Week? I'll do it. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I'll go ahead and call today's meeting to order. This is the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners for March 4th, 2024. It is 9:01 a.m. If everybody could please join me and stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We also take this moment in the agenda for a moment of silence, a brief moment of prayer meditation as we honor our first responders, police, fire, and medical personnel. Without the tireless time and dedication of these important individuals, our world would not be the same. We also honor the men and women serving in our armed forces and are forever grateful for their service that allows us to enjoy the freedoms we have in America. All right, thank you very much. We're going to go over a couple of additions, deletions, modifications to the agenda. I want to bring up a consensus, ask for consensus. We have a deadline that came forth from the, let me go to the part, from our River to Sea Loop Alliance. There's a meeting coming up on March 27th, 28th, where the Florida Greenways and Trails Council, without much warning, is going to discuss the rankings of our 14 regional trail networks in Florida. Currently, the River to Sea Loop Alliance, of which Flagler is a part, is second ranked. The first ranked trail network is basically funded, so that would push us up to the top spot without the re-ranking. So we have been asked, since Flagler is part of it, to help, one, to get staff to help update the status of the River to Sea Loop Trail, and then a letter of support from Flagler County as one of the 5 counties through which the loop passes. And this is to encourage the council to maintain our position in the rankings. We have some help with some citizens that are active in our trail networks. So I'm going to ask for consensus to be able to send a letter of support.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Yes, can you be vocal with that?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Everyone has supported that. We'll work with our volunteers and staff to get that letter out, so thank you. A few brief announcements. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection's Office of Resilience and Coastal Protection announces a public meeting to which all persons are invited. The purpose of the meeting is for members of the public to review the draft Guana Talamado Matanzas National Estuarine Research Reserve Management Plan. The time is and date is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024 at 6 p.m. And the location is the Willie Gallimore Community Center, 399 Riberia Street in St. Augustine, Florida. You can go to view the plan at https://florida.dep.gov/rcp/NERR-GTM. And if you want to receive a copy of the agenda, you can contact the Reserve Manager, Leah Sansom, at 904-380-8602. We have a few vacancies in our volunteer boards. These are for voters residing in Flagler County. We have vacancies in the River to Sea Transportation Planning Organization Citizens Advisory Committee as a citizen alternate. We have an opening on the River to Sea TPO Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. The Affordable Housing Advisory Committee has 2 vacancies. We ask that you keep an eye on our website for any boards that may have member terms expiring soon. If you're interested in any of those positions, we invite you to apply. Please visit our advisory board vacancy page on flaglercounty.gov to view further information regarding these openings or to apply. Positions are open until filled. We also have upcoming meetings and workshops. The next regular meeting is Monday, March 18th in these chambers at 5 p.m. And tentatively have a workshop scheduled on Monday, March 18th at 2 p.m. regarding the Bing's management plan. One more reminder for Al Hadid's evaluations, and also wanted to announce in the audience on one of your agenda items under consent was 7B. Wanted to introduce our Flagler County Extension Director, Laura Valencia, who's in the back and wanted to be here today. She's got a schedule that takes her back to Gainesville, so she'll be here just for a few minutes and then be on the road. But thank you for being here. Appreciate it. All right. With that out of the way, we'll move on to proclamations. And our first proclamation for today is requested by Gail Palmer of the AAUW Flagler County. And she's the president-elect of the American Association of University Women. And this month is American Association of University Women Month, March 2024. So we have a proclamation to read, and welcome.
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and read the proclamation, and then you can have some time to speak. Thank you for being here.
This is a proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners designating March 2024 as American Association of University Women Month in Flagler County. Whereas the future of our nation's productivity and competitiveness in the global workplace depends on the success of boys and girls, men and women. And whereas women have been discriminated against in education, the workplace, and society as a whole, and whereas the American Association of University of Women opens doors for women and girls and influences public debate on critical social issues such as education, civil rights, and workplace equality. And whereas the American Association of University of Women promotes excellence in academia for women through the improvement of schools, communities, and field of work that benefit us all. And whereas the American Association of the University of Women is one of the oldest existing organizations dedicated to promoting education and equity for women and girls. Whereas the American Association of University of Women celebrates its 143rd anniversary this year from its inception on November 28, 1881. And whereas the Flagler County branch, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, advances the American Association of University Women's 143-year legacy of leadership on behalf of women and girls in Flagler County. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that they hereby declare March of 2024 as American Association of University Women Month in Flagler County, and we encourage all citizens to recognize the value of education and the laudable work of the American Association of University Women. This is adopted the 4th day of March 2024, attested by Tom Bexley, our clerk of court, and our chair, Andrew Dance. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pennington.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the proclamation of Flagler County Board of Commissioners designating March 2024 American Association of University Women Month.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pennington, second by Mr. Hanson. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a few words.
Absolutely.
I'm Susan Baird, a past president of the Flagler County branch of the American Association of University Women, and this is Gail Palmer. She's the upcoming president. We are celebrating our 40th year, and some of you may know one of our founding members was Mary Ann Clark, who was very active in Flagler County. And Mary Ann started the first fundraiser for our branch. She knitted in Afghan and sold raffle tickets for scholarship. We have contributed more than $300,000 in scholarships in the last 40 years for the girls and women in Flagler County. And we're not going anywhere, so we're going to stick around. Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Would you like to take a picture?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Keep going.
Thank you. Our next presentation is for Government Finance Professionals Week, which is March 18th through 22nd, requested by John Brower, the county's Financial Services Director. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman? a
Yes.
Proclamation of the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners proclaiming March 18th to 2024 as Government Finance Professionals Week in Flagler County. Sure. Whereas the Florida Government Finance Officers Association, FGFOA, is a professional association founded in 1937 and serves more than 3,300 professionals from state, county, and city governments, school districts, colleges, and universities, special districts, and private firms. And whereas FGFOA is dedicated to being your professional resource by providing opportunities through education, networking, leadership, and information. And whereas the Government Finance Professionals Week, sponsored by FGFOA and all its member government organization, is a week-long series of activities aimed at recognizing government finance professionals and the vital services that they provide to our state and our community. And whereas during this week, government finance professionals throughout the state of Florida will be acknowledged for their hard work, dedication, and leadership. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners that March 18th through 2024 is declared as Government Finance Professionals Week in the County of Flagler, and urge all citizens to join us in extending appreciation to all government finance professionals for their continued leadership, hard work, commitment to the highest ethical standards, and dedication to their profession. Our organization and those we served adopted this 4th day of March, 2024, attested Tom Bexley, Clerk of Circuit Court, and signed by Commissioner Dance for the Flagler County Board of Commissioners.
Great. Would you like to make a motion for approval?
Make a motion to approve this proclamation.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sullivan, second by Commissioner Hanson. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Welcome, sir. I'd
Thank
like
you,
to
Mr. Chair.
introduce your team, too, for the public, so everybody,
Before, I got a little.
you
thing.
go right ahead.
All right. Mr. Chair, this is the 5th year in a row the board has recognized the many finance professionals in government throughout the county working hard every day to build upon the trust instilled in them as stewards of our taxpayers' money. On their behalf, I would like to thank you and the board for today's proclamation. Like so many others within support operations, finance professionals work diligently behind the scenes to aid in the success of the many programs and initiatives in place to implement the board's policies. In your financial services department alone, there are MBAs, MPAs, CGFOs, and a continuous drive to improve on work that has consistently won awards from peer groups and national organizations. Each of them carries a tremendous sense of responsibility, not only for the work that they do, but also how that work affects all levels of our organization and each of our citizens. They understand the extent to which they are counted on and the importance of them performing with honor and integrity. These experts apply their knowledge in the background, out of the spotlight, ensuring the application of sound fiscal practices and policies, all to do their part in earning the trust of our community. This is why your public recognition of them is so appreciated. Thank you again for acknowledging them and the work they do for all of us.
Thank
And
you very
I'll
much.
introduce Brian Eichinger as the OMB manager for his team.
Brian Egginger, Financial Services. First up, we have Amanda Gilbert, Michael Catalano, Dan Nicholas, and Brandy Allen had to step out for a couple seconds. So.
Great, awesome. Thank you. It's a great opportunity. At least I'm thankful that you bring these proclamations forward. It gives us an opportunity to thank your staff. Thank you and your staff for all the hard work that they put in. It's one of those jobs that is takes a lot of work to get all of our publications put forth and do the budgeting. So appreciate all of the work y'all do.
Appreciate you saying that, Mr. Chair. We get a picture?
Absolutely.
And there's the, you might want to grab the proclamation. All right, congrats. Congratulations, guys. Those numbers straight.
Commissioner Hanson, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I always maintain that the most important job we have as county commissioners is the budget and husbanding the taxpayer dollars, and they make it possible. They make sure that it all gets funneled into the right spot and it gets spent the right way. So they're invaluable, and their expertise is supremely appreciated.
Anybody else want to?
Well, just, Mr. Chairman, it's so important. I mean, the one place we can get in trouble really quickly is to have something go wrong with our financing, budgeting, and make sure everything balances up.
I appreciate over time our move towards transparency in our budgeting and our financial numbers. You know, when I first started serving, just to get information about small buckets of the budget was, you had to go through the county administrator, and it's tough to find. But that's not the case today. Really, anybody from the public could find anything out about our budget and our numbers, just pretty much from our website, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wanted to say this is a good opportunity to point out the transparency dashboard, because I spent the weekend. You can now literally drill down into work hours, manpower in districts and areas. And so I spent the weekend. So it's nice to have that now. It takes some getting used to figure it out. But everything's out there now that's in our budget, line by line.
Thank you all. I appreciate all the comments. Thank you again. All right, at this time, we'll move forward to community outreach. This is a 30-minute time period that's been allocated for public comment on any consent agenda item or topic not on the agenda. Each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to address the commission. Speakers should approach the podium, identify themselves, and direct comments to the chair. So this time, we'll open up community outreach and public comment. Thank you. I think he's going to talk.
David Eckert, Cali del Sur, Palm Coast. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and Steve Davis this morning. And I wanted, before the minutes were approved for the last meeting, I wanted to supplement the record with the packet that I just handed out. And it pertains somewhat to agenda item 8B from the last meeting, but it mostly pertains to perpetual easements in general. And I fully support, and Steve and I fully support the vote in the perpetual easement from the last meeting, but more perpetual easements will be gained from Sea Colony and other HOAs, as well as hundreds of property owners. And within that context, we want to add comments that are in the one-page memo plus the 16 pages of the handout, commenting on the nearshore rock. And that rock that is managed by Florida DEP and Fish and Wildlife is below the mean high water line. And the above the mean high water line can be managed by the property owner under the perpetual easement and the county, but east of that, towards the water, is managed by other governing authorities. And the mitigation requirements for those which are high cost, especially when it is designated as hard bottom. And the differentiation between rock and hard bottom is very, very important. Now, we've already dealt with the fact that Olson expressed an indication of whether that was hard bottom or rock in the beach management study that we've had to counteract to a certain extent in some of the interactions that you've had with Florida DEP when you've had visits up there. So I'd like to use the comments to try to separate the process of what property owners desire from rock being protected from what the governing authorities force from a mitigation standpoint for the hard bottom. Olson stated that the near-shear rock must be protected habitat, or may be protected habitat, for the federally listed species under the Endangered Species Act and under essential fish habitat under the federal Magnuson-Stevens Fishery and Conservation Act. These assertions may either be proven or disproven by studies that are yet to be completed. So those studies are both geographic and biological surveys, and those have started. You voted to start to do those studies and permitting north of Flagler Beach. And so you have the memo in front of you. I just want to indicate that please keep those separate and not set designation of protected areas inadvertently when you don't intend to do that by making comments separate from the process of the governing entities at the federal and state level.
Thank you.
So just
Next, what did you,
go on the, this handout, does it go on the records?
it's part of the record yeah, if they hand it out to all of us, it'll go on part of the record.
They've got a copy, okay.
Next speaker.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mike Valancourt. I'm a Vice President at Valancourt Construction Company. The reason I'm here today is to allow you all to put a face with a name. We are a heavy civil site development company. We're based in Green Cove Springs, Florida. We have, it's been 15 years since we worked in the county. And if you can do the math, 15 years ago, the economic climate was different than it is today. We came to the county simply to do work to survive. Our company was 200 employees, and at that time it was reduced down to 80. So we were looking for work. We came to the county, found some work, and were able to survive. And I can, stand here 15 years later and tell you that not only did we survive, we have thrived. We have offices in Savannah. We do operations as far north as Charleston, South Carolina. Our payroll is 600 people strong today. It's our goal is to have our customers look like geniuses for hiring us. And our customers are not just the developers, they're the engineers, they are the county, they are the utility departments that we work for. At the end of the day, when we're done, we turn over infrastructure that everyone's going to use, the general public, and they're going to use that mostly to go to and from the most expensive, most important thing that they'll ever buy, which is their home. And so I wanted to come up here today, allow you to put a face with a name, because you're going to see us come to your county and do more work for our customers that we have up in Northeast Florida that are coming down here to do some development work. And when you drive past one of our job sites, I hope that you look at the name on the sign and you can, think of us, think of all of our people, and know that, you can spend your time worrying about something else other than what that contractor is doing on that job, because we're going to, it's our goal to deliver a quality project to the people who are going to ultimately use it for a very long time. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
Good morning. My name is Chris Crowder. I'm here representing Flagler RC Racers. I gave a packet to the board secretary to pass out. You all might have driven around and saw us. We had been racing out in the Woody's parking lot off of 100 and so forth. Well, there's construction started up there, and we have lost our parking lot and so forth. So I'm here today to ask, I got the, in this packet here, Hidden Trails Park off of 100. It's a large land scale area, and basically just a basketball court out there. What I'm basically asking is for a 120-foot by 60-foot slab of asphalt for us to be able to go out there to be able to race. Now, the benefits that we bring to the county is we've been, the last 2 years, we've done a statewide event And within that, we've averaged bringing in 50 hotel rooms for each event, and also thousands of dollars of food and retail outlets into the county through this time frame with people coming from all over the state to these events. If we're able to get a permanent location, we can hold more than one of these events per year, bringing in more people, and as well as bringing in a national level event, which would bring people from all over the United States and even Canada. For myself, I've been into the hobby for over 35 years. I am a national organization official, where I'm actually flying out Wednesday to go to Pennsylvania for an event. And I've had a track in Daytona, an indoor track I had, and then renovations came around, so we were unable to stay there. And then I've been doing the Flagler RC Racers as well for 3 years. To the community, we want to create a school program at no cost to the students, which will work with science, technology, and so forth for the students. As well as for the past 3 years, we've been doing Toys for Tots drives, where we've been able to turn in the big contractor bags. Each year, we've been able to turn in like 4 to 5 contractor bags full of toys for the local community here in Flagler County. So if you'll take this into advisement, I would be very grateful. And I'm also reachable for any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take note of the number and the email because I've got a few questions that that I'll reach out to you because of I didn't know you had lost that area.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sullivan?
Yeah, just if there are tourist dollars involved, I don't know if they've come, have you gone before our Tourist Development Count, TDC, to ask for anything? Because that might be one of the things to look at.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
reach out to you and
you're
alert you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners, Brother Chair. I live at 503 Strange Street, and my name is Daisy Henry. I gave the chairman a flyer about our annual fundraiser for the Carver Gym, the Motown Madness, and it'll be June 23rd at 6 o'clock at the Carver Gym. This is our annual fundraiser. We do it yearly. So tickets on sale, and you also could go online. Another thing is that I see on, again, I was at your last meeting, that you're going to go ahead forward with the ILA signing of the Carver draft, whatever. And I'm still opposed to it because even for my advisory board, when we had our meeting last month, half of the members had not even read it yet. But even though you're going ahead with it and we can't stop you, you need to consider that we still think about the welfare and the safety of our children.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll get copies of that. Appreciate you handing off the flyer. We'll get copies in everybody's mailbox. Thank you. Next, please. Thank you. You can push the mic up if you need so you can.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Skip Simmons. I am the Executive Director of No Longer Fatherless. It is a nonprofit founded in Volusia County. And I have a heart for Flagler County because we do serve Flagler County as well, but we only serve a handful of families. We have a few mentors in the area, a few families that we help. So my goal here is to spread awareness. There in Volusia County, the single parent household rate is about 24%, and I know in the country we have the highest single parent household rate in the entire world. So there are families in need everywhere. So we are trying to expand our resource. So our mission, we recruit, train, and match mentors with boys growing up without a father figure in Volusia and Flagler counties. We're up to nearly 60 boys matched with 60 mentors. And we have mentor training classes 4 times a year. in an effort to keep growing and impacting more lives. So we have 3 main programs, and it's one-to-one weekly relational mentoring. So each mentor is matched with one young man. I'm matched with not a young man anymore. He turned 18, but I've been mentoring him since he was 12. His name is Liam, and his father passed away in the military. So I've been able to be a role model for him over the past several years. And recently, his mother said, she asked him if something happened to her, God forbid, where would he want to go? And he said he would want to live with our family, which really hit me in the heartstrings and just showed what an impact this can have, just supporting, encouraging, and being there for these young men. So we think it's an incredible organization, and we know there are single parents in need. We know there are plenty of good men in Flagler County. We have some residents on our team, Chuck Murdoch, Paul Mata, who are doing an incredible job. The young man Chuck is matched with, the mother said, when he comes home from his meetings, he is just lit up, smiling, confident, just excited for the time they get to spend with our mentors. So we're asking to spread the word to parents in need. If you have connections with schools, therapists, counselors, caseworkers, just letting them know this is a resource available in the area. And then, of course, if you know some good men, please have them reach out to us. You can find us on our website at nolongerfatherless.org. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. You just search No Longer Fatherless, and you can find it there. That's where families can sign up on our website as well, and as well as mentors. They can sign up and see when our classes are available. And I have some brochures. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to hand you those.
Sure.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And thanks for making sure people knew where to find you online. Great service. Good for you. Anybody else for public comment?
Good morning. My name is Raymond Anthony Crown, and I live at 163 Brittany Lane. Good morning,
Morning.
Chairman Dance. Good morning, Vice Chairwoman Pennington, Commissioners, County Attorney Hadid, and County Administrator Petito, and he was supposed to be my best man, Sheriff Staley. But, you know, I've told you it's absurd before, and it's really appalling to me, and something stinks all the way from Flagler County to Denmark, while you guys get paid over 60 grand a year, and you only work part-time and you get benefits. When my FCSO family, they start out at a little over 45. Rookies at Anchorage Police Department, I'm moving back to Alaska in 28 days on April 1st, no fools. They start out at almost 100K. So, you know, my pastor, David Stidham, of 24 years at Church of Christ of Flagler County, told me, Raymond, it's always been that way. And I wanted to change it as the best commissioner Flagler County has ever seen from past to present, and could only hope my successors would follow the footsteps of Jesus and I. But, you know, there's some things people talk to me about that you need to pay attention to. Not only paying our police, fire, EMS, and teachers more. You know, children are our most valuable asset, and water is our most precious resource. It's going to be more expensive than gas soon, mark my words. Anyways, besides that, something has to be done about the litter. I spend about 40 hours a month picking up litter all over Flagler County, and I'd adopt the street, but I get most all of them, you know. Not all of them, but a lot, you know. There should be fines, you know, and community service picking up litter. And affordable housing has just gone through the roof. The affordable apartments behind Publix in Flagler Beach, my friend's a nurse and shares that with another nurse, and they're paying $2,000 a month. That used to be $850. FCPT, they need on-the-job training and, you know, paid so that you can get more drivers, you know, and dispatch. And I wanted to commend Sheriff Staley on Operation Heartbreaker, taking $746,000 worth of drugs off the street and 44 people. I don't know, some are still at large, but hats off to you, Sheriff Staley. We need more jobs here, industry. You know, BMW was going to move here, but they moved to South Carolina. Something needs to be done about the homeless. I've been homeless, and you need a homeless shelter with rehabilitation and a crisis shelter. You know, like, so the cops don't have to drive people all the way to Daytona when they bake rack them. Anyways, in closing, I just want to say that Jesus loves you, and I do too. And please vote for Trump. Sleepy Joe's got to go. I made Christmas gifts for you because Christmas is every day when you're helping out the less fortunate. That's what you need.
Thank you. Just leave that with the staff right there. They'll spread them out. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other public comment for today? Would anybody else like to come up and speak to the commission for public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close out community outreach for this segment. We're going to move on to consent, but first, is there any board comments on any consent items? Commissioner Hanson?
I don't have any, thanks.
Commissioner Pennington?
None.
Commissioner Sullivan?
I just want to mention that item 7M, I don't want to pull it, but I'm glad to see that the ILA on the George Washington Carver Center has finally come forward again. I did have a couple of questions seeing it on the agenda. One was, when I first got the agenda, I didn't know if each of the other parties to the ILA had actually signed the document, and I was told they had, which I think is very important, because I noticed that the big change since we approved it in December is they removed PAL by name from the ILA now. And so I guess my only concern was, though that help will still exist, it's just for a variety of reasons, we can't have it specifically mentioned in the ILA. So that's my comment. I don't want to pull it or anything.
Commissioner O'Brien?
No, sir.
And I don't have any for this meeting, so
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
a motion by Commissioner Hanson, second by Commissioner Sullivan. We've already opened that up for public comment, so at this point, I'll close and ask for a vote. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Moving to our first general business item. It's 8A, Planning and Development Board appointments, and our Growth Management Director, Mr. Mangle, is coming forward.
Good morning, Adam.
Good morning.
Growth Management Director. I've got the ballots for you in front of you. This is filling a vacancy on the Planning and Development Board that's for the area previously filled by Mr. Melendez. He had received a waiver of the requirement. This particular vacancy is the area west of US 1, north of 100. We've had historically a hard time being able to get somebody in that area. And so you have three candidates. All three of them are not within that geographic area. So your appointment will be then hopefully a supermajority vote, but then would waive that residency requirement for that specific area. And you have those three candidates, Ms. Cook, Mr. Gettings, Mr. Wilcox. Ms. Cook, I think, is home sick right now, but you had met her previously. I think Mr. Wilcox is here. I'm not sure if Mr. Gettings is present, but I think Mr. Gettings was here also at the last meeting. So with that,
Okay.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
So if I recall, I just want to make sure, Ms. Cook and Mr. Gettings live in the city of Palm Coast, correct?
Yes, they
Is that
do.
the way? Okay.
And for the waiver, you need supermajority?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So unless, if it's not there on the first vote, we re-vote, or is it, how do you want to proceed?
Yeah, I think that's, or you could, if you get if it's a 3-2 on the candidate, then I think we could have a separate vote just to make sure we get the fourth on waiving the requirement. We know all three of them are not in that area, so. We do have a 3-2 vote for Mr. Wilcox. So through your action, you have selected Mr. Wilcox, but we would need a separate vote then to waive the requirement for the area. And that would need to be a supermajority vote.
All right, so we have a 3-2 vote for Mr. Wilcox. I'll ask for a roll call vote to see if we have a supermajority to move him forward as the planning board member for that seat.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien? Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Harrison? Okay, so, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And Mr. Wilcox is in the back. Congratulations, sir. And then on to 8B. This is to consider a conflict of interest exemption for Affordable Housing Advisory Committee member. And who wants to take this one? All right, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chair Dance and Commissioners. My name is Joe Hegedus. I'm the Director for Health and Human Services at Flagler County. As Chair Dance mentioned, we are here to request your consideration of an exemption of a conflict of interest that potentially will be coming down the road regarding a member of our Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, Ms. Shank. The Housing Services Division is going to be issuing an RFP to request proposals for funding to develop affordable housing rental developments. And Ms. Shank has indicated that she is director of an organization that will be applying for those funds. So in communicating with her and county council and the department, legal department, we determined that there was a conflict of interest there, and that in order to proceed with that, the board would either need to approve a waiver of a conflict, or the other alternatives were Ms. Shank not participate on the board or not apply for the funding. So in communicating with Ms. Shank, she had asked if we could apply for that waiver. I will share some additional information in terms of the funding and the committee. The Affordable Housing Committee does not make decisions on funding allocations or award funding projects. Those are done through our RFP process. The committee is more involved with recommending policies and procedures, as I'm sure many of you have been participating in and been aware of. So it's not necessarily a funding voting conflict. It's more of a participation in that committee and then recommending policy, general policy, that in turn produces priorities and funding recommendations for the county. So again, that's the role of the committee. I will also mention that other communities do have vendors or funding recipients on their Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. For example, St. Johns County, I believe the St. Johns Housing Partnership has a similar situation where they receive funding as a vendor and theoretically have gone through a similar waiver exemption process. So that's kind of the short and sweet of it. Ms. Shank, I believe, is here to answer any questions. But again, we wanted to ask the board to consider that waiver in light of the forthcoming RFP and
Ms. Shank's intention to apply on behalf of that organization. The organization she works with is Abundant Life Ministries that we believe will be applying for that funding.
Thank you for bringing this forth. At this point, yeah, if we have any questions.
Just a statement. I think, I know her. I think she's a very valuable asset to this board. And so I think we should retain her in her position. So.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I concur with Commissioner Hanson. We do not want to lose Ms. Shank's service in our community and her expertise in this area, and I think this is a no-brainer decision for us. So,
I agree, and I think it's probably, she's an expert in this area and willing to do a lot of service for this area, and must be a very frustrating process for her, because it is a tough problem, and we need tough people to stay after it.
And I'll just add, as the County Commission delegate representative on AHAC for 3 years now, I've been fortunate enough to sit with the committee. Ms. Shank has been chairwoman, is a tireless advocate, and brings, you can tell she's working for the constituents and not for herself on that committee. It is a thankless task being, trying to work so hard. It's very, it's stacked against us to get affordable housing. We're making progress as the commission trying to address this. It would be a shame to lose her. I value her participation in the committee and think it's important. She has shown me nothing that shows, that she's doing this for her own personal reasons. It's all about the constituents in the community. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. And I'll just say I echo and share all of those comments and views. Thank you.
Mr. Hadid.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to let the board know that the law requires that there be 4 votes in order to approve the exemption. And also, as far as assuming that the board is going to grant the exemption, I have already conferenced with the finance department, and the way that we will assure that there is no favoritism or bias in the procurement process is that we will not put any of the AHAC members on the review for bids or RFPs that come in from contractors or other developers or whoever might be applying.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve an exemption from conflict of interest for Ms. Sandra Shank.
A motion for approval, Commissioner Hanson.
Second.
Commissioner Pennington, second. At this time, I'll open the floor for public comment. All right, seeing no public comment, we'll go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor signify with aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you all for allowing me.
Thank you, Sandra.
All right, making good progress here. On to our county administrator report.
Good morning. Just a couple things. Last week, we met with Superintendent Moore to begin discussions, excuse me, of some of those legacy expenditures. This was the beginning of what I believe to be several conversations. I believe the meeting was very productive. I look forward to our continued dialogue with Ms. Moore. On Friday, we submitted a grant application to the state's Recreational Trails Program. The project scope included the purchase of 3 pieces of equipment to maintain our trails, renovation, repair of an elevated boardwalk, and some installation of interpretive educational wayfinding signage along Lehigh Trail and the Flagler Pedestrian Greenway Trail. The project cost is $437,500. It does require 20% local match. The match would be $87,500. It is above my threshold. However, I wasn't really concerned with the local match as the money is already included in our operating budget for the replacement of some of these expenditures. I do have this, the timing of it was due Friday, and it wasn't able to put it on the agenda for today. I am bringing it back to include at your next agenda for ratification. Just wanted to let you aware of that one. And then you should have received a calendar invite for March 20th at 9 a.m. This invitation is for the rescheduled joint workshop on the 5-year public safety plan. I just wanted to make sure that you did get that and that we didn't have any conflicts, as this requires our board as well as Palm Coast and the sheriff. And then that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. County Attorney report, Mr. Hadid. This must be important.
No, it's just I needed to use the,
Oh, the overhead.
yeah, the overhead. Okay, this has to do with the, can we bring that into focus? At the last board meeting, we talked about invoking the new procedures under the International Property Maintenance Code, which the board adopted, I think, in about June, last June. And so the building official, per that code, has gone out and made a determination that it needs to be demolished, that it's condemned as unfit for human occupancy. There's just so you're familiar with the process, this initiates the process. They have a period of time within which to appeal. That time expires March 7th. And I can send you all this in case you want to have it. So here's the demolition order. And they do have the right to appeal. That 20-day time that you see in bold there expires on March 7th. Now, they did submit a site plan. It was referenced at the last meeting. There was a site plan that was submitted, but it lacked detail. It was submitted by an engineer, Kim Buck, but it lacked a lot of essential details, so it was rejected. So I just wanted to let you know about that. Okay, any questions on that before I go to the next? Okay.
It expires April 7th.
No, the appeal process, March 7th. In other words, this week, March 7th is the deadline for the company to file an appeal. If they do not file an appeal, then we are authorized to go in and demolish the property and take the expense that we have incurred for that activity and assess it against them, and it becomes a part of their property tax bill. Okay? Now, they can appeal. If they file an appeal by March 7th, then we go to a hearing, and that will be in front of a special magistrate. Okay? So that's the forward pathway. Now, even though you can turn the Elmo off, because I got a weird tone on it, the desk. We have filed an amended motion for partial summary judgment, and we will be scheduling that for hearing. We are encountering the same delay tactics which we have experienced throughout the case. We run the dates by the lawyer. We have to, per the court protocol, is get an agreement with all counsel that might be in a case, in this situation, one counsel, to the hearing date. So we have to constantly run down, send emails, calls, remind. And what we're going to do here is if that doesn't happen in due course the way it normally should happen, then we're going to file a motion for a status conference with the judge and lay out these dilatory practices.
Commissioner Sullivan.
Yes, go right ahead.
I thought, I think the last time or the time before you spoke about this, there was a problem of what law firm was representing the client here?
Yes, when we initially filed the motion for partial summary judgment, which requires a response from the other party. It's not discretionary, must respond. He filed a motion to withdraw from the case. And we were going to oppose that motion. He recited that he had a conflict with the client. Now, we can never know what that is. That's protected by attorney-client privilege. But we wanted to challenge that because the procedural effect is that it suspends the case because the party is not represented. So we can't have the hearing because the party is not represented. The party does not have to file the response because they are not represented. It's a dilatory tactic. So we were going to challenge it. Normally it's pro forma. You go before the judge in a hearing of miscellaneous procedural items, and we indicated we were going to oppose it. Then he filed that he was in fact going to represent them. So
That's taken care of.
change, yes, that's taken care of. That's an example of some of the, in my opinion, dilatory tactics in bad faith that have been used by the other side, unfortunately. Okay, now to go to another case where the procedures are on the, I don't want to use the word dark side, but let's say gray side. And that's the situation we have with Ormond Beach. You were given a copy, you were emailed a copy of the motion to dismiss. That's been set for April 25. That will be heard at that time. There will be another hearing in that case because, you know, they also sued the developer and they have their hearing this coming March 11th. And we will be present at that hearing, and they have dismissal motions pending. But again, we are not at the, we don't stand in the shoes of the developer. The claims against the developer, while they do involve our access easement into our conservation area, that is not the central part of their case. So we're going primarily to see how the judge reacts to the arguments. This will be the first time that this matter has been before the judge. And it'll be Judge Craig, by the way, who used to sit here. I mean, some of you, I'm sure probably all of you know him. So that concludes my report, unless you have any questions.
Just a quick one. If we demolish the motel, would we do that with our own people, or would we contract?
No,
it
we'll
out?
contract it out. And that way it's an independent price. It'll be based on bid.
Okay, thank you.
And I had
Won't
one
be any
question.
claim that the amount is exaggerated or.
Yeah, got it.
I hate to see that Ormond Beach thing continue to prolong. It seemed that it was a fairly straightforward thing, but it's getting more and more complicated, including bringing something back to us when I read the documentation. And do you have has any progress been made with the people there? Because I know you guys had some meetings.
Right. Yes, we have. We've had those discussions, and what we've offered, which I think all of you are aware of this, we're not wedded to the language of the present easement. The easement, it's a standard road utilities kind of easement. So we have said, and this we have said since the first time they raised a question about it in 2021, well, we're happy to revise that. We don't plan to build the road. We got enough road problems and financial, and we don't have enough gas tax or anything. And there's no state program that's going to fund it, right? No way. It would be the road to nowhere. I mean, it would be a joke, a road to nowhere, a road in a swamp. So I think that they understand, because of the repetition here, because of the meeting, because of the conversations, that we don't have any designs to do anything other than what we are actually limited in doing, which is manage the conservation parcel. The conservation easement, which is a different instrument, that's the easement that is negotiated with the Water Management District as a part of this development order process. It doesn't allow us to use the road for anything but conservation management. I mean, we're already restricted. So even though the easement theoretically grants us a right to build a road, we couldn't do it. We'd have to get the Water Management District, and imagine this, we'd have to get the permits from Ormond Beach. So they have ultimate control. So they have agreed to take a look at a replacement easement, an access easement, which will be confined to the very limited purposes that we want to use it for. So we're in the process of preparing that and submitting it to them, and hopefully that will resolve the issue. I mean, they can quibble with words. You know, we don't believe we're the masters of all drafting, but basically it's going to confine our right to that access for conservation management only.
If that happens, would we put a lock gate on that?
Oh, we'd have to Mr. Hanson, as you may remember, we were having people go in there, illegally hunt.
Right.
We were having people go in there and get fill, and I don't know if they could have easily timbered. There's value in cut timber. And there was no control at the gate. So this existed until we got the easement in 2017, and then we cut off all of that trespassing. There was trespassing from gosh knows when. Can't tell you how far back through 2017.
But there was an issue who had the key, as I recall.
Well, and yes, there were issues about that, and there were a bunch of padlocks on it,
Yeah.
so that anyone who had the number or the key could get the access. So it was theoretical control, but in actuality, it was no control. So what we did when we got the easement, we took them all off. We took them all off. Somebody that wants to use it has to come to us to validate that they have a right and what it is they want to do.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
We'll open it back up for public comment if there's any additional public comment. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to everybody. I haven't seen or heard it.
Name, please, for the record.
Excuse me, George Mayo, Palm Coast.
Thanks.
If there haven't been any decisions concerning the school board and the county and any other governmental agency concerning their loss of the $700,000 plus monies to be replaced, has there been any talks or anything going on concerning that? Thank you.
I have not heard of anything from the school district side, but well, that's not in our purview. They may have talked about it in the discussions with Ms. Petito this week, but
The cyber
you'll have to
event,
go to the
correct.
school board meeting to ask that one. Anybody else for public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the dais for commission reports. Commissioner O'Brien.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Sullivan.
Yeah, just two quick comments. One, the canvassing board is underway. We've had 4 meetings so far. Commissioner O'Brien and myself have been attending each one. We are already counting mail-in ballots for the presidential primary. That'll go on through March 19th. And so anybody who received their ballots in the mail, they can mail them in. Don't know how much effect it'll have on anything, but we're going to do our job. And so we wanted to report that. And then I did want to follow up, and I know I'm being redundant on this, but I mentioned at our last meeting the problem with the Babe Ruth League baseball field out on Route 13 when we were there for the opening of the Babe Ruth League. They're going to have a tournament in July, and there is a problem in back of the infield, which could be dangerous to the players, especially with outsiders coming in for that tournament. It's a matter of grading that would help and eliminate a safety hazard. And it's getting worse. As you go in back of the shortstop, you actually drop off a foot or so, and we're afraid somebody might get injured there. So I mentioned it, Ms. Petito, last week. I just wanted to mention it again, just because it's one of those, not a big item, but it's an important one as far as I'm concerned. That's it.
Is there anybody that opposes Ms. Petito taking a look at that?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. Right. Commissioner Pennington.
Just mention our own Mr. Hadid will be speaking on the history of the hammock Tuesday night at the Hammock Community Center. So it should be good. I think it's 6:30. And then Cracker Day is coming up March 30th, and that's a big event. So I encourage everyone to attend.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yeah, this is from Mr. Petito. I'm continuing to get complaints about Bronx Pizza, and not so much the parking, because we all know the issue there, but their use of the available land around them. I don't know whether it's legal or not. I think we just need to monitor that,
So-
because it's, I think it's a safety issue, but
I did want to mention, I went out Saturday night to that to take
Yeah.
a look, and the at first glance, there's a lot of cars, but they have valet now. But the operation next to them, I don't know the name of it. I apologize. The restaurant next to them was had another band going as well, and cars as well. So it was kind of hard to differentiate between the two businesses who was creating the chaos. But there were two bands going. Which I think we talked about. I talked to them about the decibel levels and the time. So they indicated that they intend to have music Friday and Saturday nights till 9. But when you go out there, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the other operation. They had bands as well, so it's kind of hard to tell what's going on out there. There's a lot of, and it just has a bigger discussion about parking in businesses down there and noise limits because they're abutting residential. And so yeah, I did go take a look at that.
Anything else, sir? Okay. And I'll just echo some of the comments. I think we all got emails about that. And I know there's been discussions when we had the high-intensity commercial discussion, rezoning issue. We heard from some residents about concerns about that because of existing issues, which I recall. So it sounds like if we could analyze, at least have staff analyze options for the benefit of the residents, how that, what options are available. Commissioner Hanson and I were in St. Augustine Sunday just to pay respects for the Ag Board member, Michael Kinney, who passed away recently. Ran into some other friends of Flagler County while we were up there. So it was intended to be a celebration of life, and then it's the way Mr. Kinney would like it. And want to thank Commissioner Hanson for also heading out that way to support the board, the Ag Board. Cracker Day coming up. There's a lot of festivities. The spring is loaded with stuff. So there's nothing short for residents to do this month and coming up. I think that's it. That's all I've got. So with that, we'll see everybody back at 1 p.m.
I move we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second? Second. All right, everybody. See you back here a little bit later. Thank you.